What is up, everybody? So I'm gonna make a video basically explaining the situation here in Beijing and what's mandatory and what is just voluntary. So if you want to go anywhere, like let's say the subway or to any restaurants, wearing a mask is mandatory. Taking your temperature is mandatory. Like for example, walking around here, it's fine. They're not going to say anything. But if you try to leave, when you come back, they're going to take your temperature. And if you want to go into a shop or into, like, let's say the subway, they're going to tell you to wear a mask. So these are things that you do want to do that are necessary, at least in China. So I know in America and other countries, it is not mandatory to wear a mask. However, there are certain precautions you can take, such as limiting your exposure to, people who are who have the virus or who have been exposed to the virus. So here in China, basically, I got a few emails from the corporate, response from some big-time organizations back in America, back home, explaining what they were going to do to prevent the spread of the virus. And basically it said if workers are feeling sick, we have asked them not to come to work. Right, so this makes me wonder, what if the worker doesn't even know the symptoms that he or she has? Or what if the worker, was exposed to the virus and it's still within the amount of days before the symptoms start to show? So that is not a very thorough way of preventing the spread of the virus. So, what happened here was almost all shops and places of employment have shut down to prevent that by all means. So if people are sick or not, you can't go to certain places because they're closed. So recently more places have been opening up. I have been noticing that. The school systems in Beijing are still closed. I heard that a few cities in southern China that were not as affected, they are opening up. They opened up today. Oh, no. Today's the 15th. So yeah, today's the 15th, which means they will be opening up tomorrow for the first time. And they're going to do priority depending on the class rank. So of course, seniors would probably go in first because they have tests that they want to do for college and stuff like that. So I work at a training school and I also work at an experimental school. Both of them are shut down right now. So we have no word as of yet as to when the government is going to issue the opening date. So of course we had the Chinese New Year, which was, I came back to China on January 28th. I was self-quarantined I've still been in my apartment. I've been going out a little bit more, but I did self-quarantine for at least a month. And now that things are getting better, we still have no word on when things are going to reopen, but I have been seeing a lot of shops around here that were closed open. And also I do live down a very historical part of Beijing. So I live down Nanlogushan. This area here is usually filled with tourists, hundreds or thousands of people. And all of the shops here are still closed. So, this is strange seeing it this empty. So yeah, we're still waiting. And as you can see, this area is pretty historical. It goes back over 800 years. So, we're just in this situation where we're waiting. I had to take at least a half pay cut, a little bit less than half cut to my pay because we've been teaching online. So it has affected the economy. All of these shops have been closed for over a month, 2 months now. Yeah, because I got back, it was closed for the Chinese New Year, and nothing has reopened in this area and the schools. So we're literally waiting for the start of the new semester. So I'll keep everybody up to date as when China will issue that information and when I can go back to work. So I just translated all of these little letters on all of the shop doors. Basically, what they say is like, if you are a merchant and you plan on reopening, there are a large number of procedures you have to comply with. So before you even open, you have to call a certain number and like report the information, and then you have to go through certain mandatory things that you have to do to ensure that your workers are safe and that the people who are they're interacting with are also safe. So you can see that on all of these shop doors. So it looks like they're going to start getting ready to open some of these shops soon. And that, again, will depend on the store keepers. So I did see several of these were open, like several of these shops were open. And a lot of people were inside, like cleaning up and fixing things around. So, I mean, to me, it seemed like they were getting ready to start opening these shops up. But we'll see. As of now, none of them are opened. However, on the outskirts of this lane, like you will see, a lot of the shops are open. But right now, the ones in here are not. So again, we're probably going to come across some regulations as you try to get inside of this lane. So let's see if they still have that up. I haven't been out of here for a few days, so we're going to find out if those certain precautions are still there, which they're good. I mean, they keep this area safe. So right now, you cannot walk in here unless, I guess, you work here now, or if because I see this shop is open. I don't know if they're opened or if they are just getting ready to open. But yeah, so you do need a pass and a temperature check, and like if it's your first time coming in and you claim you live here, they'll go to your apartment where you claim you live and they'll register you. So that's what one of the first time that I came back here, when they put up that new regulation, I did not have that pass. So they literally had to come to my apartment. I had my Chinese friend talk to them, and they set up that information with me at my apartment, like my passport, the police registration, a number of different things when I entered the country, and my temperature check and all of that. So all of that stuff is important. And again, when you try to re-enter here, they will always check your temperature and not allow you back into this area if you have a temperature. You will go straight to the hospital is what I've heard, but we'll see. Yeah, guys, so this is like where they test your temperature and then they make like note of your stuff. So if you have a temperature over a certain amount, you can't be